The first two scrimmages we had this spring, we didn't have a lot of penalties. We didn't have a lot of sloppy play. I thought that, there was obviously a lot of good things out there in terms of the execution, some of the players making big plays. Obviously, when you play against each other, when one team gets a lot of turnovers, makes interceptions, get fumbles, that's a good thing. But the other part of it is when you turn it over and you're playing against yourself, that's not such a good thing. And that was something that hasn't happened really all spring either. So that's not a true indication, I think, of what's important in terms of us being able to play winning football. I thought there were a lot of undisciplined penalties today, which we haven't had a lot of during the spring. Some of it's organizational in terms of trying to play a lot of players. And it was our goal today in the third quarter to get everybody an opportunity to play a few plays. If they've been here all spring and all winter with us, to give them an opportunity to play. But I really do feel like we have a lot of the components to develop as a team. I don't think we are where we need to be. I think too many people too comfortable with their position, and that to me does not lend itself to great competition or being a great competitor. If you look at last season or next season, 5 or 6 plays in the season probably to determine the outcome of the season. Whether it's 2 minutes at LSU, stopping Georgia on the 8-yard line, scoring a touchdown to get ahead in the game, coming back in the game, whatever you want to talk about. Some play that happened in the Notre Dame game that was a game-defining play that changed the whole outcome of the game. Not scoring on 4th and 2 at the 2 against Texas A&M. There's always 5 or 6 plays, in a season that are going to define, how that season, comes out. And you never know when those plays are going to come up. So your preparation, your ability to play with consistency, your ability to pay attention to detail, get the little things right, you don't inherit that. That's something you got to earn. That's something you got to believe in. It's something you got to trust in. That's really what I think some of our players on our team need to learn how to do. And we're trying to do this with a bunch of guys that have all relied on their physical ability. In other words, their skill. And they have been better than everybody else when they don't need to pay attention to detail. So to get that done is easier said, maybe than done, but still it's going to come down to our ability to continue to make progress in that area, to become a disciplined team that has the mental and physical toughness to dominate the competition every play in the game for 60 minutes in the game. It's very simple. It's about people buying in, people making a commitment to, about the leadership, demanding the standard every day. And we've made progress. We made progress this spring, but it's a work in progress, and we have to continue to make that progress throughout the summer and fall camp if we're going to be the kind of team we're capable of. I would say that they all need to improve. Alex probably played as well as any of them. Blake, who's had a really good spring and made really good progress. If you look at the spring as a whole, sort of went a little bit rat trap out there today. Aborted his reads early, started scrambling, didn't do things like he's really improved in scrimmages as well as through the spring. I thought some of the young guys were a little bit antsy and had trouble managing the game, getting in the right formation, getting the call, which, can be expected, but we certainly need for those guys to develop as well. Well, I've answered this question numerous times before, and the answer is not going to change. Christian Jones has done a really good job on both sides of the ball. The object of what we did this spring is so that if we need a guy to play corner in the fall, he can play it. He'll know how to do it. All right, so we don't need to make that decision right now, and we're not going to make it. We don't need to make it. We're going to see if we can develop, the players that we have so that he can be an explosive player on offense, which he is, which we'd like for him to do. I would like not to go into the season thinking that he's got to worry about preparing himself to play on both sides of the ball. But it will be nice to know that he knows how to play corner, and he learned how to play corner this spring. So if we needed him to play it, he could play it. But we're going to have to continue to get the young players that we have at that position, those coming in and those that are here, to continue to develop at that position. Well, the offensive line has done a really good job all spring. I think Anthony Steen and Cyrus Quanjo have done a really good job from a leadership standpoint. Ryan Kelly has played well all spring long. He got a lot of experience last year, which I think was helpful to him. R.E. had a really good spring. Austin Shepard had a good spring. Leon Brown is a guy that has ability that can give us depth, so can Kellen Williams. Those guys are still in competition for positions, and rightfully so based on what they've been able to do. So we need to continue to try to develop more players at that position, but I'm pleased with the progress that that group has made. Yeah, but you misinterpreted what I said. I didn't say they were comfortable with their positions. I said they're too comfortable, period. All right, that means they're too comfortable with their circumstances. All right, so, I'm interested in what's the vision of the team, what's the purpose of the team, what do we want to accomplish, how do people commit to it, what are you willing to do to earn it? All right, I didn't say comfortable with their position, because I think our players know that if they don't perform very well, if somebody else will replace them when we can with somebody who can perform better. We don't have any problem doing that. I believe in our players. I trust in our players. I'm just talking about the overall attitude of a comfort zone because of the success we've had in the past, not doing the things to earn what we need to do in the future. All right, so we need to determine what we're going to do in the future. What is this team going to be all about? And forget about all that other stuff because it's history. The biggest thing that I was concerned about is how would the team go out there, what would be their energy, their enthusiasm, and their attention to detail. So mental intensity. And I don't think that there were enough guys that answered that question in a positive way to my liking. All right, but I'm never satisfied. Okay, like I spoke to a bunch of different alumni groups today. All right, and they all want me to make a comparison between this team and last year's team and the team before that, the team before that, the team before that. And, I wasn't happy with any of those teams at this point. I mean, if I was happy with them, we wouldn't have summer conditioning. We would not have fall camp. We wouldn't have 30 practices to get ready for, our first game against Virginia Tech. We'd just pack it in and say, all right, let's go to Atlanta and play the game. We're not there yet. All right, that's why we have all these practices. That's why we have all the work we need to do. So I'm not disappointed where we are right now. I don't want anybody to think that. All right, but I'm not satisfied where we are either. But we have a high standard of what we want to do, and we need to realize that every team that we play is going to bring their A game, and that game is circled on their calendar as to what they want to do when they come play Alabama. That makes sense? They made some interceptions today, so that's good, but we got a lot of improvement to do back there in terms of just consistency in performance, tackling, not giving up big plays. I was pleased with the fact that we did make some big plays today in the secondary. I do think we have some players that have some experience that are playmaker types. We have a lot of work to do in terms of our entire defensive team when it comes to overall pass defense. We talk about pass rush, talk about discipline and coverage, breaking on the ball. And I thought it was a lot better today, which is a good sign.